New England.
Very much, Madam Deputy President. I think we should remember some of the basic facts here. 99.7% of sheep that go to live export go off the ship in a better or same condition. 99.7%. And of course there are times where there are issues that need to be addressed. Absolutely. There are issues that need to be addressed. Like there are on the roads if there's an accident, like there are in a factory if there's a workplace accident, like there is in so many areas. But it's not solved by closing down an industry. And that seems to be the intent of the Labor Party, to close down an industry. We've had a go at this before. They closed down the live cattle industry, and that ended in an absolute disaster for people of Northern Australia, for Indigenous communities, for the whole lot. Because there was this sense, this conceit, that thousands of kilometres away you were going to make a decision about other people's lives. And now we're going down this path again, where we're deciding, without really any attachment to the industry, without actually being in the industry, you're going to close another person's industry down. Now we know the path that this will follow. It's not the people who are pursuing this are not going to stop with live sheep. After they're finished with live sheep, it'll be live cattle. And after it's live cattle, it'll be the transport industry. You can't believe for 1 second that these people, the animal rights people, the sort of this anthropomorphic principle that all animals are people and all people are animals, is going to relent after they just close down one section of the live export industry. In this nation, under this government, we made it our target to get a better return back through the farm gate. Whilst the Labor government was there was no real escalation. In fact, agricultural output in their last quarter went backwards. Agricultural returns went backwards. But we brought about that record return. Record return for lambs, record return for mutton, record return for live sheep. We went to Western Australia and West Australian towns and they said, you have to do something about revitalising the economics of these towns. You have to get the live sheep trade going again. And we did. And it did. So now we're saying to these regional towns, sorry, you've got to go back to being poor. That is what we're going to deliver to you. We are going to make an edict from here, from the inner suburbs, that you be poor. We think that is the only thing you deserve, to be poor. And that comes from the Labor Party, which is supposed to support those on the peripheries. And this sort of vague promise, oh, well, somewhere down the path we're going to do something that may help you. No one's going to believe that. No one takes them seriously. We can't take them seriously because we've got to take them by their track record. Their track record which decimates regional towns, which decimates regional industries, that has no empathy and no understanding for those away from the inner suburbs of the major urban capitals. We also have to note, if we are living in a global economy, the global cultural practices of some of our major trading partners. Some of our major trading partners in agricultural products are Islamic. And I spent a lot of my time as a minister going to these Islamic countries to make sure that we were seen as a global trading partner. And now we're deciding that we're no longer going to do that. We're also going to preach, after we've stopped preaching to regional towns, we're going to start preaching to Islamic countries around the world about how they should act. Well, I'll tell you what, they're not going to listen to our sermon. They're not. And we've got to be really careful, because if we start having a conceited approach to how they live their lives, then they might having a very parochial approach into how they trade with us, or whether they do at all. And might I remind people that there are a lot of meat workers in the processed meat sector who are selling meat into Saudi Arabia, selling it into Qatar, selling it into Kuwait. And if we lose those markets, they will, of course, there'll be downward pressure on their jobs and a reduction in their prospects. We're expanding. One of the biggest manufacturing industry in Australia is the meat processing industry. That's where the jobs are. And it's worked hand in glove with the revitalisation of the ag sector because the returns are there. So I say to this is, don't move towards if the Labor Party represents a closure of the live export industry. They represent a reduction in income to regional towns. They want you to go back to being poor. That's what they believe you should be. If you're in a regional town, away from the urban capital, The Labor Party has no policy for you but that you should be poor again.